people call me a modern day hymn writer, and what that often means is people will say, "Hey, I knew your song, like His Mercy is More or whatever it was. I knew your song, but I didn't know you." And I used to kind of ruffle my feathers, but the what it became for me was a sense of real meaning, because I began to see that I was a part of something that's bigger than me. What I think a hymn is really a song that belongs to the church, and that's really the center of the target for us. We're trying to write songs that belong to the church in a real way.
Welcome to Grounded, a podcast for restoring the church to a biblical foundation. Today I've got a couple of guests. One is my good friend. He's been here before. If you've been following Grounded, you know about him. His name is Jason Wallace. He's one of the pastors at our church, and he has a guest here with us today, and I'm going to let Jason introduce him, so go for it.
Yeah, our guest today is Matt Papa. And Matt, I'm going to read a paragraph bio, and then you can tell us if anything in here is true or false.
Okay.
So the word on the street, a veteran songwriter and musician, Matt Papa has carved an even more unique space for himself as one of the world's top modern hymn writers. I agree with that. With songs like His Mercy is More, Christ Our Hope in Life and Death, and Come Behold the Wondrous Mystery. I would add Rise My Soul, the Lord is Risen. I love that one.
Let's go.
Yeah, man. Matt tours regularly across the U.S. as a songwriter with Getty Music and a frequent guest on their tours, a 3-time Dove Award nominated artist. Matt is on a mission to help write songs that are singable, beautiful, and timeless. And you are currently the artist in residence at Marco Presbyterian Church in Marco Island, Florida. And you have 5 kids. All right. Is all that right?
I think it was all pretty good. I will say that there should probably have been a few more superlatives, like adjectives like amazing, astounding, magnificent,
handsome.
Things like that.
Patriotic.
Other than that,
humble,
it was
very humble.
It was pretty right. Yeah, humble. Actually, yeah, I'm way more humble than you guys. That's for sure. So,
like Moses.
So yeah, but other than that, it was great.
All right, very good, very good. And so you're on here, Matt, for 2 reasons. We asked you to come on the podcast, and the first is we are really excited that you are coming to Cornerstone on October 7th. You're gonna lead worship just by yourself with a guitar and a piano, and we are so excited about that. We want people to know about that. That's the first reason. And the second one is that we are a podcast for restoring the church to a biblical foundation. So we want to talk to you about worship music, about why you do what you do, and all that kind of stuff. Because like that bio just said, you really are one of the top hymn writers in the world right now. We've really been blessed by your music here at Cornerstone Community Church. In fact, like we are obsessed with the scriptures, and so we want our church to worship in a way that is filled with the Bible, that is scripturally rich. And so as we've continued on that trajectory, we've been playing more and more of your songs. And so I want people to know you, hear about you, and all that stuff. And so for starters, so one of the things that bio didn't say is where you're from and how you got into music. So would you mind answering those for us?
Sure. So I grew up in Georgia, primarily the North Georgia area, kind of rural, kind of in the country. And I started in music. Music was always, I would say, a part of my life, and it was always an important thing for me. Almost music was sort of an escape and a place I could always go. It was sort of a people talk about how they connect with God and that sort of thing through nature, through this or that. I mean, music was kind of that for me. And then I would say, like, as a teenager early on, I was pretty into sports, but then I picked up the guitar, and really guitar kind of took over everything. And about the same time, I was starting to get involved at the youth group, and there was a youth pastor who's really invested in my life, and it was a very small little youth group community there, but it was a profound, I would say, synergy of things happening in my life there at the time. I was just starting to understand Christianity, understand the faith. There was that family kind of communal piece at the church happening there in my life. There was the music and just like catching a real vision for music and just the energy of it and the force of it. And then also, he said, "Hey, do you want to start helping out leading worship at the church?" So it's this synergy of all these things happening. And with worship leading in particular, I just found that the community piece, the theology, God piece, and the music piece, kind of come together the way that it does, as the church sings together, just to be an incredibly inspiring and forceful thing. And I just became really passionate about it and obsessed with it, and just began to do it as much as I could, anywhere and everywhere I could. And so as a teenager, that kind of took over my life, and then college, studied music, and did a little album just out of college. But that was kind of the genesis of things.
Yeah, awesome. Well, yeah, I think and from there you moved to Nashville, right? And you have a lot more albums than people might understand.
Oh yeah, well, so I did kind of, I would say, probably about, let's see, from when I was 21 up until my later 30s, I was doing solo albums, and I was kind of in the sort of CCM space, I guess you could say. Although I was always kind of bumping up against the edge of the CCM space, I feel like, because I had this particular desire for things to be sort of more weighty, more, say, theological or poetic or artistic, say, or whatever, rather than commercial. Even though that's not those things aren't mutually exclusive necessarily, but anyway, so I was making albums through say the early, say, 2008, 2006 up until 2016 or 17. And then what sort of slowly began to happen was these things I was doing on the side. We called them hymns, but at some point in that CCM phase, my friend Matt Boswell and I got set up on a little blind date, and we started doing these little things on the side, and we called them hymns, and they were kind of doing what they did, and they sort of, in a way, had their own life force and energy of themselves, and basically it became a thing where I was starting to sense that God was leading in that direction, and I was sensing that that crafting these things called hymns was a real service to the church. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times the way I describe it, I'll say this in concerts often, but I'll say, people call me a modern day hymn writer, and what that often means is people will say, "Hey, I knew your song, like His Mercy is More," or whatever it was. "I knew your song, but I didn't know you." And I used to kind of ruffle my feathers, but what it became for me was a sense of real meaning, because I began to see that I was a part of something that's bigger than me. All these churches in other countries now, and different things, the different translations of the songs being written, and I just started to see that happening sort of organically. And then we connected with Keith and the Gettys, and they kind of added some fuel to the fire and that sort of a thing. But yeah, it really has been meaningful to see folks catch on to these songs, and because what I think a hymn is really a song that belongs to the church, and that's really the center of the target for us. We're trying to write songs that belong to the church in a real way, and that aren't ours, really. And we hope that the church will sing them for a long time. Who knows? But what'll happen? But that's the goal.
Yeah, you've talked about building cathedrals.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's kind of how I view these things. There's a lot of different architecture in the world. There's a different purpose for all the different kinds of architecture, but I'm fascinated by the old cathedrals because of the sheer amount of time and just patience that literally a lot of the people who would build the cathedrals would build them and not see their completion in their lifetime. They would build them and die, and then the other people would come and take their place. And just that, the willingness to undertake a project that is beyond you, is bigger than you. That's kind of how I see the songs that we're working on. Now we don't spend hundreds and hundreds of years making them, but we do often spend several years, many times, making them. And just the willingness to wait, to let boredom do its job, and to kind of show us what's working, what's not. And really, to me, that's a lot of what separates a hymn as well, is that a hymn is a song that the church sings for a long time. And I think the formation of hymns, because of how they're received, they're also formed differently. So they're received very slowly over the course of years and centuries, but because of that, they're also made very slowly. And sometimes I'll compare it to like a relationship. With a person, you often have to understand the soul of another person. You have to sit with them for a year or two or more, just to get their essence. And I think songs are similar. I think just living with a song, waiting around, getting a sense of the soul of it, it really does tell you more things than anything. And it's not, I don't think it's a right or wrong thing. I think whether you write pop songs or whether you write hymns, it's just a different kind of beast. A pop song is meant to have that instant saccharine kind of like boost and just jolt of excitement, and then it has the tear off after that. Whereas a hymn it's you don't have that instantaneous, I feel like, excitement, but it's more like the feeling of it's less like the feeling of looking on like a city skyline. It's more like the feeling of looking at a beautiful landscape. It just hits you in a different way. And it hits you slower, but there's a sturdiness and a durability to that art form that is meant to last and is meant to speak to the soul in an enduring sort of way.
Nice.
Yeah, that's great. And in your music, you can really just tell if it's one of yours and Matt Boswell's. There's a just a clear richness in the lyrics. Like, I love "Come Behold the Wondrous Mystery." That's probably my favorite of yours. Do you have what's your favorite hymn that you've written?
Okay, I usually will say it's our Christmas one, "Sing We the Song of Emmanuel."
Yeah.
I just absolutely love the tune of it. I love, but I also really like "Lord from Sorrows, Deep I Call," and I guess "His Mercy is More." I have to tip the hat to that one.
Yeah. I was sitting in an OPC church the other day, and they had a little binder of other songs, and His Mercy's More is in there.
Cool.
And I was just like, look, you guys they've come all the way into the OPC. The Orthodox.
So you two guys need to help me out with something if you can. So I'm the only non-musician in here.
Okay.
I hate to say I'm a non-musician. I used to be a drummer, but there's
you're a
debate
drummer.
about whether is a drummer a musician. There's the thing about that. But anyway,
we can talk on a lower level though. We can use smaller
appreciate
words
that.
and that sort of thing.
I don't even play drums anymore. I've aged out. But anyway, so you guys mentioned Matt Boswell, and I just have to come out and tell you, I don't know who he is and what. So who is he? How's he play into your life? What happened?
Yeah, so he's my buddy who I met probably 15 years ago. I was with a music company at the time. He was with a different music company, and they kind of set us up on a blind date to write. Often music companies will do that. They'll set you up to write together. And we just had a great experience. We both had this sort of peripheral kind of interest in hymns and like classic songs and theology and classical music, and sort of trying to make things that endure. And so yeah, he's a good friend. He's a great songwriter. He lives in Texas. He's a pastor. He's a lead pastor of a church there in Texas.
Wow.
And so
Nice.
I guess the way our sort of pairing works, he's probably more of the pastor lyricist, and I'm more of the artist composer. But it's been a great, wonderful friendship, and the we're very different people, but it's fascinating to see, how that cocktail works itself out, and the songs that are coming from it. So
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, Matt Boswell. And you also talk about, you mentioned the Gettys. And
Yeah.
so for those who don't know, who are the Gettys?
Okay, the Gettys. So Keith Getty is an Irish modern hymn writer. He started out over in Europe. He was really initially more of like an arranger, a string arranger for different albums and productions. And he heard Stuart Townend's hymn "How Deep the Father's Love for Us," and was struck by that, and just on a whim kind of reached out to Stuart, and literally their first song they ever wrote together. Keith sent him like 5 melodies. One of those melodies was da 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 da, and Stuart, sketched out. He was like, "This melody's kind of okay. I guess I'll write something to it," and he sketched it out. So anyway, it was in Christ alone. So that was kind of his first co-write, which is absolutely bizarre. But
Wow, his
but
first
yeah,
one. Wow.
yeah, but no, it's crazy. And then so they've been doing they've been in this space for a really long time and doing really good work. And they heard "Come Behold," they heard "His Mercy Is More" maybe 8 or 10 years ago, and kind of roped us into their camp in a way. And so now we kind of collaborate with them and work in tandem with them and their company, and it's been a really good partnership.
Yeah, it's blessed the church for sure. You guys
Yeah, I
have
hope
pumped out
so.
a
I
lot
hope
of
so.
songs. Yeah. So we're a theology podcast-ish thing.
Yeah, okay.
And I say we. I'm behind the camera most of the time. So
Okay.
it's Steve. And
So do we need to get into eschatology now, or
that's it.
predestination? Okay.
That's the question. Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Correct me if I'm wrong here. So I think Matt Boswell is a Baptist.
Yeah, he's Southern Baptist.
All right. I think the Gettys are Baptist. Is that correct?
I would say if you had to pin them down, they would probably be Presbyterian. I mean, now they're in they go to a church called the Village Chapel in Nashville, which is, I think, it's like loosely Presbyterian or something. Or it may just be like a community type church, but they have some Presbyterian roots. I don't know exactly, but I'm currently at a Presbyterian church. PCA
I
church.
thought you were the lone Presbyterian. So I guess I'm wrong because I know Coughlin, Jordan Coughlin, he's got to be Baptist, right?
He's Southern Baptist, yep.
And and I don't know about Merker, but I thought so. So you're the Presbyterian guy, at least in terms of with Boswell. How is that? Does that affect your songwriting at all, or the relationship between you and the other guys?
No, not at all. I mean, I will say this: like, I for most of all of my life, I have been Baptist. I've been Southern Baptist, but there was a kind of a slow pivot, I would say, toward the I wouldn't say it's not in the particularities of Presbyterianism, but it's more in the broad ethos or DNA of the. I have slowly drifted toward what I see in the Presbyterian Church as a more a more winsome and doable way to live life, which is all of like in the enjoyment of all of the world to God's glory. Whereas the Baptist thing was always a little angsty and a little self-sabotage kind of thing happening there. But not trying to pit one against the other, create enemies here, but just to say the Kuyperian sort of thing to me was the winsome thing about the Presbyterian Church. I'd honestly, as far as the particularities of baptism or eschatology, those are areas that I basically know nothing about. But what I do know is that I love the holistic, integrated approach to life that the Presbyterian Church has. It, to me, it's just more replicatable. It's just more winsome, and Christians to me last longer in that sort of in that vision, in that worldview, than they do in the burnout, just, press the gas as hard as you can in the other way. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually totally agree about the like replicatable kind of thing. I think having firm lines and firm traditions really helps with longevity in a church.
Yeah.
So PCA is my second favorite denomination.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm a Reformed Baptist.
Amazing.
Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking, man, you need to meet some Reformed Baptists because they have that same thing, but they're Baptists.
Well, that's what I was. I mean, the church I was at before this church was basically Reformed Baptist.
All right.
Yeah. We'll forgive you for that one, and for driving a moped.
Yep.
Both those things. So that's awesome. But it sounds so. You were in a Reformed Baptist church. Does the Reformed thing, like, how has that been? So in the CCM world, it seems like you would be a minority there. How's that been?
It's becoming more and more. Yeah, I would say yes, definitely in the CCM world, it is a minority. But I think it's becoming more palatable, we'll say, or maybe not palatable is the right word. But I would say CCM world is coming around to it. I think just the particularly with church music and how, a lot of, because CCM is essentially shrinking, church music is kind of now more of the pie, as it were. And
like
then
congregational music.
What's that?
Like congregational music as opposed to
yes, as opposed to like radio, that kind of thing. So because of that, there is, I think, an instinct, and I hope there's an instinct to then lean things more generally Godward, biblical, all of that. And so I think because of that, there is a bit of a more openness to it and a shift toward it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. And that brings me to the next question, and jump in whenever you want. So our tagline is restoring the church to a biblical foundation.
Okay.
And so in worship, like where do you want to see that happen? Like your bio said you're on a mission and all this kind of stuff. Where do you want to see, like, how do you want to see the worship of the church reformed? Not reformed theologically, but made new.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of different pieces to that. I think that, well, one, I would say, I would say you can listen to what we're doing and kind of make your own assumptions about that. In a way, I hope that our songs will do that. You know what I mean? I hope that they themselves speak to that. But we're trying to do a lot of things. I mean, we're trying to create songs that work in a stadium or a living room. And so there's a certain quality that you have to make a song with for it to perform in that way. If you want to put a giant band or orchestra to these songs, that's great. But we also want, like, Joe worship guy to be able to go into a living room and just be able to play these songs. And even if he's not a trained vocalist, like we want him to be able to lead people with these songs. And so, in other words, the songs don't require an artist, or they don't require a certain production. They don't require anything. They're just, the songs in themselves carry the essence of the DNA of what we're trying to do. And you don't need all the gadgets or gizmos to pull them off, if that makes sense. So that's one thing. I mean, another thing that we're trying to do is we're trying to we're trying to make songs that that walk people through life. And that could be through suffering, that could be through joy, that could be through, the hospital bed, that could be through death, it could be through, so I think a lot of the issue to me is that a lot of what's, say, popular in the Christian music space tends to focus on just like a handful of areas. And, those being like grace, mercy, forgiveness, and life, freedom, joy, and certainly those are things that we have to sing about and echo. But I think there's a whole host, a myriad of other aspects of life that we want to help walk people through with our songs. And then, gosh, what else? We want to, well, this relates to the first thing I said, but just make things that are singable, make songs that not, that I often, as I'm writing songs, I've got the guy in my head who's sort of on the back row with his arms crossed, how do I get that guy to sing? I want him to not feel like effeminate when he's singing this song. I want him to, the Harley guy's nodding. I want him to to be able to resonate with it, to jump in. And beyond all that, I guess we want to make songs where God or Jesus are the hero of the song, and that when you walk away from a Sunday experience, that to me, that has to be, that's the essence of, I think, what a good worship service is when people walk away and Jesus is the hero. And it's not even that like, oh, I need to fix this about myself, or then that's fine, or I need to do this, or I need to go, something. It's like when you walk away from a worship service, you're essentially worshiping Jesus. You're in awe of who he is and what he's done. And so that's what we're trying to do.
Amen, man. Yeah, may there be more and more and more of that. Just God glorifying, Christ exalting, just worship music. So you mentioned the guy in the back. So would you say that songs these days are a little more feminine than they should be, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think they can be. I think there's like there's sometimes like a little chipperness and a pippiness that it kind of, I don't know. It's sometimes it comes across as a little cheesy to me. That could just be like my personality type or something. I don't know. But yeah, it can come across as a little effeminate, but I think the feminine is an important emotional essence to convey, but I think you have to convey the other as well. So like, to me, a great melody is masculine and feminine. You can set that melody to be thou my vision. You can sing that melody as like a bar tune, be thou my vision, da, 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 da. You can make it sound masculine, or you can do it as a beautiful like classical violin solo, and it has like sort of an effeminate quality. But yeah, so I do think that a lot of the songs carry a little bit of a, maybe too much of an effeminate on that side of things. So
yeah, we would totally agree, very much. That's one of the things that the Pastor Steve talks about a good amount, and one of the things that we've been trying to push back against, and that's again why we play more of your guys' songs, because they're down the middle, and a man can sing them and not feel embarrassed. Nor do they lie. So I'm the worship leader here.
Yeah.
Sometimes it bothers me when songs are like, I want, I'm going to sing a million melodies to you, Lord, and
Yeah.
stuff like that. It's like, no, you won't. You won't do that. Yeah, that's not true.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah,
so,
absolutely. That's a really important point, I feel like. As I'm writing songs, I yeah, I feel like I'm always stopping and saying like I don't know if I believe that, or I don't, or is that overly eager or overly idealistic, or overly zealous, say. And again, that's probably my Presbyterian coming out, because again, like, I want to I want to write things that are replicatable and that feel um, that feel honest, and that feel real to both a child or someone in their 80s, and everyone in between. And it's interesting. Like my buddy Johnny, who's a writer for City of Light, he talks about sometimes, like, as he's writing, he's like, you basically, there's a bit of a red flag whenever you feel sort of too much excitement over, and this sounds funny, but whenever you feel too much excitement over a specific song, because sometimes what that can indicate is that one certain demographic of people are going to really like this song, but everyone else is going to kind of not get it. Like, his thing is, you should actually, as you're writing and working on these songs, they should hit you in a way where uh you like them and you resonate with them, but not like too much so, which I think is kind of interesting. And so we are trying to write these in a broad, multi-generational kind of a way. And it's a very tricky thing to do. It's a puzzle, and that's kind of why I feel like I've continued to do it. It's because of the challenge of it. It's very much a puzzle. But it's a good task, and to try to say things that feel timeless and timely. It's hard to do, but that's what we're trying to do.
By the way, all that you just said, that whole paragraph,
Yeah.
same thing in preaching.
Yeah, that's true.
You want your preaching to be realistic, doable. Well, of course, what's in the Bible is doable. So if you're preaching Bible and getting it right, it's going to be doable. You want to appeal to masculine. You want to appeal to feminine.
Yep.
You got everybody there. You got young people. You got old people. You want to preach things that could last. So all the same thing. I'm really resonating with you.
Fantastic. Even though I drive a moped.
Well, we could
Yeah.
talk about that sometime.
Okay. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
when you're here, I'll take you out on the Harley and convert you.
Since you're a drummer, I'm kind of surprised you could understand that last paragraph.
That's great.
Oh, very cool. You mentioned, is it Johnny Robinson? Is that?
Yeah. That's him.
Yeah. So City of Light.
Yeah.
We also play City of Light songs. We like those. And you co-wrote, so Rise My Soul, Rise My Soul, the Lord is Risen. That's the latest one of yours we've started.
Yeah.
And I noticed they didn't do the chorus. Was there a thing there? Did the Rise My Soul?
The little refrain. Yeah. I think it's probably in a way, I mean, it's not like a huge difference, because that little refrain is just, I view it almost as kind of a musical hook more than an integral part of the song. But I think it is a bit of a philosophical shift in a way. Like, they tend to, I would say, with their philosophy, they tend to be way more on the simplistic side, and default to that side, where we are, we're still trying to make songs that are simple, but I think we tend to push a touch more to have some sort of added flair of distinctiveness, to each thing we're trying to do. It's not a right or wrong. It's just probably a different philosophy. But the nuance of the difference is very small. I mean, I really resonate with those guys and what they do. I really love Johnny, and we do some of their songs. We do 2 or 3 of their songs at our church, and it's good stuff that they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, yet not I. It's
Yeah,
that's one for the ages.
that's wonderful.
Yeah. And I appreciate that. Like I think I figured it was something like that. Because the Gettys tend to have these beautiful,
Yeah.
even really complicated violin parts sometimes,
Yes,
and
yes, yes,
or the
yes.
little guy on the penny whistle and stuff like that.
Yep.
So
Yep.
they do a lot like that. All right, so I've got a kind of more just fun question for you.
Okay.
And so these days, I saw an advertisement recently on YouTube
Okay.
for AI songwriting.
Oh yeah, let's go.
Now, yeah, what are your thoughts on AI songwriting, and do you, like me, hate it?
I think as a tool maybe to just spark an idea. You mean it definitely can't hurt. I mean, but I would say there is we do in the songwriting world sometimes we'll use it as a sort of idiom. When something sounds a little overly cliche, we'll say that sounds a little chat GPT or whatever. And so there is that. But I think as a way to I want to do I want an opening song about God as about the fear of the Lord, say, and I want it in 4/4 time, and I want it to utilize the word propitiation or something. I don't know, like, and you just input that and see what comes out. I mean, I think there can be a sense in which maybe something is sparked, but I don't think you really lean on it, and because it really the songwriting process is just so bizarre. I mean, obviously you're starting with literally nothing. And you end up with this invisible thing, is this idea, and you're at this blank page, and so um, there really are no rules there. You can have a system, you can have a way that gets you going and gets you started, but there's so much that's sort of wild and chaotic about the process that I think a tool like ChatGPT is it can be fine to add into the cocktail of things going on.
All right. Yeah, that works. I'm the kind of guy who doesn't even use backtracks. Like I'm an angry purist and stuff. So I saw that and I've only looked at it askance so far, but maybe I should give it a try or something.
When you write, do you write like Accapella or what?
And so I actually just listened to your you have that songwriting masterclass. So I listened to that and it kind of connected with something. You said that you try to write a cappella to kind of keep so that the ambience, so that the atmosphere, it's not dependent on those things. And so I find that my best melodies are typically when I'm just thinking. But I'll do
walking or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'll do both. I'll just grab a guitar, and melodies for me tend to just happen as you play music and stuff. But yeah. So, right, chat GPT, all that good stuff. Well, I've got 2 more questions for you. And then really thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
And I know I've been talking too much, Steve. So
by intent, that's good.
All right. Yeah. Man, so what is your favorite thing about either the gospel or about the character of God that for you to sing about?
Well, I mean, a song lately that I've been doing a lot and that I resonate a lot with, that people seem to resonate a lot with, is this one. We based it off a Tim Keller quote, "Completely known, completely loved," and that was based on a Tim Keller sermon. I mean, I probably tried to write the song 8 different times, but and that may be why it's so satisfying to sing, is because we finally figured out a way to make it work. But the essence of it is that the gospel says that we're both fully known and fully loved at the same time. And what Tim basically said was, if you're one or the other, it doesn't work. So if you're fully known but not fully loved, that's just rejection. But if you're fully loved but not fully known, that's just sentimentality. It's just a hallmark. It's not real. It's fake. But in the gospel, the weightiness of that truth, like, we're fully known. Everything about us, everything got up and down, left and right, sideways and about, where he knows us and loves us at the same time. To me, that's the essence of the gospel, and it's just it's mind blowing. So I've really enjoyed singing that one.
A last question for you. So you're coming here to this very building on October 7th. Why should people buy some tickets and come?
Okay. Well, first of all, you see this beautiful face in front of you. I mean, you get to see that again. No, I think the thing that I usually will say to people that's I guess unique about my concerts, I'm coming to your church to play these songs, is that really it is a 1,000% participation required event. Because of what I shared earlier, the essence of a church song or a hymn is that it belongs to the church. This art form is about the people owning the song. The church the song belongs to the church, and that's what we're trying to do. And so, I think come having your voices ready for it to be an engaging sing along kind of experience. And I think it's so much fun because of that. And I think you'll sense in the room as we're together the power of that, and how these songs hit when they are sung together as the church. So that's kind of the. I mean, it's not unique in the sense that the church has been doing it for ages and ages, but it is unique in the sense of like me being a musical artist. That's kind of the shtick, and the main event is actually you singing these songs with me on that night. So it really is a fun, engaging night, really for kids as well. I love having kids in the room, young, old, everybody. That's who it's for. So y'all come.
My final question to you is: do you need a drummer that night?
Well,
I know one. I know a guy.
Yeah. Well, there's like an IQ level requirement as a part of
a drummer IQ.
Yeah.
Oh man,
no, that's good.
Turn around, good stuff.
Good stuff.
You want to?
All right. Thank you all for joining us on Grounded. That's Grounded for today. I'm going to draw it to a close. I hope you can join us on that concert. If you want to leave us some comments down below, we would enjoy that too. Hope to see you next time.